Let's do it. Hey everyone, and welcome to Understandable English. This video is part of a more informal travel series that I have been doing, where I tell you about the different trips and travels that I've been on, while speaking English in a more relaxed and understandable way. This way, you can practice and learn English while also learning about the world at the same time. Today, I'm going to tell you about my trip to Tajikistan, in the Fann Mountains specifically. This was one of the legs of my Central Asian trip that I did last year. I spent 3 months in Central Asia, and this was only one leg or part of it. But like all international travel, it starts at a border, and I had some problems trying to cross from Uzbekistan to Tajikistan. Why? Well, I had just gotten a new passport because my old one was full, and people were a little bit confused. How did I get there with an empty passport? But I had a letter from the embassy, and so everything was explained, but it only took a little bit longer than normal. But finally, I entered Tajikistan and was ready to go. From there, we didn't spend much time in the city of Panjakent, but we went straight away towards the mountains. We were hitchhiking, so we were just waiting for cars that were going in that direction. But we were a bit late in the day, so we were really hoping that we would have time to catch a car and get there in just one day. We finally caught a car and made it halfway, but we stopped and we saw this interesting village that was halfway into the mountains, and it ended up being the birthplace of Rudaki. As the sun was continuing to go down, we were a bit worried that we would not make it to our final destination, so we started walking. But after a few kilometers, finally, some younger people saw us and decided to help us. Again, this Central Asian hospitality is better than anywhere in the whole world. They drove us up to the mountain as far as they could in this small, old, beaten-up car that probably should not have been driving on those roads. But they insisted that they would help us, so we went with them. When we finally arrived, we were happy to be in this national park in the Fann Mountains. It was very much empty, almost no infrastructure, almost no people, which on one hand is super nice. It's quiet, it's clean, it's wonderful, it's nature. On the other hand, it makes it very difficult to plan any sort of hike or backpacking because the maps are not super clear. You don't know the conditions of the snow or the mountains, and so trying to safely plan a hike is a little bit difficult. But like most mountains in this part of the world, in the summertime, the shepherds bring their families and also their animals up into the mountains. And so as you walk, you still stumble upon or accidentally find people and signs of life. So it's not like you're in the middle of nowhere with no help. They are very kind as well, just like everyone it seems in Central Asia, and they're always happy to offer us tea or bread or a place to sleep. Everything that they could, they're happy to offer. But we brought a tent with us instead, so we were happy to just sleep in our tent like we had planned. One of my favorite experiences was this small boy. He was probably 6 years old. He was so interested in all of our gear, all of the things we brought with us, like our tent, our poles, our flashlight. He was so excited just to explore our things and to talk with us. But in terms of nature, the Fann Mountains were wonderful. They have these huge mountain passes that are almost empty. So as you're walking, you're climbing for hours and hours. You feel like you're not getting any closer, but when you finally get up and over, it is the most beautiful view you could possibly think of. So it's definitely worth it. Also, when you then go down into the valley, there's almost nobody there. And so you feel very secluded and very calm, very disconnected from the rest of the world. There were these small lakes and ponds, these beautiful rivers. So as you walk, you see a beautiful place, you put your tent there, and you sleep there. It's almost like your own private lake for the day. I'm just going to put some pictures up here of the different things that we saw up there because It was just too beautiful not to show you. But I'll tell you a little bit about the mountains because I love nature and I love being in the mountains. The air is a little bit cleaner. You feel this sort of natural energy. You feel like you can do anything when you're up in the mountains. You feel so disconnected from the world. You don't have to check your email. You don't have to check your phone. All you have to do is live in that moment, to not think about the past, not think about the future. You're living here and now. But as I said with this national park, you have to be ready. You have to be prepared. The trails are not well marked, and it's difficult to navigate if you don't know what you're doing. So you have to be ready. Also, the elevation, how high you are, is quite high. So you have to go slowly and be ready to get used to this altitude. Otherwise, you might get sick. You might get altitude sickness. But after about a week in the mountains, we descended back towards a village and found a homestay. Like I said, a homestay is like a hotel, but you just stay with a family and they feed you and let you sleep in one of their rooms. It's a very cozy way to spend the night. This family's house was super interesting and beautiful. It was decorated with these types of rugs, and the yard had these apricot trees growing, and it was a very calm and beautiful place to be. But after this, we headed towards the capital, Dushanbe, which was the next step in our adventure as we headed out towards Pamir. As we were driving towards Dushanbe, I was surprised. The highways were in wonderful condition, almost like they were just recently built. There were these wonderful tunnels that made the trip super easy. But because the roads were nice, that means that people were driving way too fast, insanely fast. I was a little bit worried as we were driving through the mountains that we might crash. The other thing that I noticed was it seemed that everyone would wash their car or get a car wash before they entered Dushanbe. I don't know if this is just a tradition or if it's something with a law, but it was interesting to see. Now, Dushanbe was a hot and steamy city, especially in the summer. And I would say it was a pretty typical Central Asian city. Not the biggest tourist attraction in the world. You could see just about everything you wanted to see in a day, maybe two. But it's a perfect place to rest a day or two before moving on to our next adventure. So that's what we did. We rested, gathered supplies, and then set off on our adventure towards Pamir, along the Panj River in Afghanistan towards Kyrgyzstan. But that I will tell you about in part 2. For now, this is the end of part 1. If you know anyone from Tajikistan, feel free to share this video with them. Perhaps they will be interested to hear the perspective of a foreigner about their country. If you learned something new, feel free to press like or subscribe. The next part of this series will be coming out soon, so don't miss it. Anyway, have a wonderful rest of your day. Toodles!